What's up, YouTube? We are live. We are live. Have a new setup. Let me just double check and make sure we're good with the volume. We are live. Okay, let me check something out real quick. Yeah, so I have a new laptop. I knew everything. Yep, and I'm excited for what the future holds. Yep, and I'm excited what the future holds. Okay, yep, it's working. Yep, and I'm excited. Okay, yep. All right. So yeah, as you can see, the title is America Doomed? And this is coming from a Black person's perspective, because I feel that, we are, well, I know we are a minority, population wise, statistically wise, and the barometer of the, politics and everything significantly affects us in a lot of ways. I know I did another live on my Life of Jaffre channel, and we talked about the BRICS alliance, or the potential for the BRICS currency and everything like that. And also we talked about in another live about the debt ceiling. All that is going to come into fruition this summer. So yeah, it remains to be seen what will be of the U.S. But I don't think the U.S. is going anywhere anytime soon. It's just that we have these first world problems, as we call it, that are something that you can have a discussion about. Unfortunately, some people they get bent out of shape, and these are first world problems. My opinion is that America is going to be here. But anyway, we're going to talk about. I have another panelist coming on. We're going to talk about the incident that happened in New York on the subway. Jordan Neely had passed because he was involved in a chokehold by Daniel Penny. He was charged with second-degree manslaughter as a result. He turned himself in today, if I recall. And then we're going to also talk about reparations, the reaction of the California governor to the idea of reparations, which is a long story. I think he helped develop or was responsible for helping develop a task force for that entity and stuff. But yeah, it's looking like he's not necessarily supporting it. I know I talked with one of my relatives one time about the Democrats and the Republicans. He always said that one is going to give you something, a little bit of something, the other one's not going to give you nothing. And I think he was referring to the Democrats giving us something, but and then the Republicans not giving us anything. So I'm sorry, I got a little sidetracked. I got a text message. But I personally think a lot of Black people now are realizing or having voters remorse because of the actions and the processes of this current administration. Personally, if it wasn't for Black people, the injustices that we experienced in 2020, Biden, I personally believe that he wouldn't be in office now. But then again, I don't know, because you had a lot of people that did vote for Biden. A lot of people hated Trump as well. So that was the thing that a lot of people underestimated. But it's never here or there. We're going to talk. I'm going to show some articles eventually, but I'm going to bring on one of the panelists so I don't bore his time, because I'm not sure what his time constraints are. He's not an unfamiliar guest. He has been on my panels on my other channel. But yeah, we're going to bring him on. I hope he's ready. Welcome, Buka.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Perfect. Hey, Jeffrey. And then
Hey, how
hello,
you?
guys. I'm doing well.
Yeah.
So today I'm gonna have my camera off because my phone's gonna be in my pocket. I'm doing my second 8 mile walk of the day. I'm doing 16 miles a day. So I apologize for not being able to be on camera, but I am excited for these topics. And all right, Jeffrey, wherever you want us to go.
Okay. I didn't know you were going to be doing a miles. I mean, doing your little walk. I mean, I didn't know you was going to be doing that right now.
No, this is perfect. This is perfect. This is the best time to do it. To do a
Okay.
walk and podcast.
Okay. So, yeah, I'm not sure if you heard about what I was talking about briefly, um, about some of the issues, social issues that we have, and how a lot of Black people now are, which I'm really summing this up. Black people are having voters remorse, um, for the for the current administration that we have in office now. Um, and of course, you know, polls they give a say, huh? Okay, you listening? Yeah. So polls they give a little bit about what's going on and how people feel, but you know, people polls you have to take those with a grain of salt because it's a different. Uh, it's a difference. That's strange. I can't mute your mic. Okay, I'm gonna just put him in the back real quick because I'm having some interference. I thought I could have muted him right away, but I wasn't able to do that. But yeah, polls you have to take those with a grain of salt because even though you can look at Black people, we do vote as a collective, Democrat in majority of the cases, and even though a poll might say one thing, how people really vote is a difference. I know I took a sociology class recently, and that's the reason why you have to take polls with a grain of salt because are people going to really say what they truly feel when they're pressed with certain issues or certain topics? You know, um, most people they're not honest. You know, but I think people are honest when they say they don't like what the current administration is doing. But we're going to talk about some other stuff. Jordan Neely, yeah, his death, and then reparations. That's pretty much what I'm going to talk about. And what lies ahead, you know, I really don't know. You know, we keep hearing doom and gloom um, when it comes to the issues of the U.S. You know, and next year we'll have the presidential debates and the race going on. So, you know, I don't think America's going to fall or the United States is going to fall. I just think, you know, if things keep going the way it is, it's just going to be a change. It's going to be not as we know it. Society won't be as we know it or came to love to be, because a lot of these changes, some would say that they're radical and, you know, it's just within the blink of an eye, you know, have these new laws and stuff passing. Oh yeah. Also, I forgot to mention too. I might look this up. Look up an article real quick. I know in Chicago, um, the exited mayor Lori Lightfoot, she declared a state of emergency for the migrants that were coming in to Chicago as well, which was definitely affecting the Black community in some of those areas. If I recall, I believe it was South Chicago, some of those neighborhoods, and some of the you know, people are advocating for the change of people voting Democrat blindly with these elections and stuff like that, which the incumbent um, mayor is Democrat as well. Um, yeah, but let's share this story. Let me see if Buka is okay. Buka, you everything's good in the back. Hold on. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I'm doing.
Say that one more time.
Yeah, everything's doing well. I commented
Okay.
earlier. I said when you talked about people having voter remorse, I said, oh, to their uneducated and emotional voting habits. So I'm happy that you said that New York is thinking about maybe putting in something in place to maybe get some
No,
habit voting.
Chicago. Chicago.
Chicago, okay,
Chicago.
sorry. Chicago, I'm sorry. I thought I heard New York.
Yeah, I was talking about New York. I'm going to go into that too with the Jordan Neely and Daniel Penny situation. But what I'll do
Okay,
is I'll put you back while I'm talking, just in case if it's some interference or something like that. And then
no problem. I'll just mute myself.
okay, yeah, you can do that too. That's fine.
All
Yeah,
right.
because for some reason I thought I could mute you, but for some reason it looked like I can't do that.
Yeah, I don't know. Somebody just started cutting grass. I apologize.
Okay, I can do it. No problem. I can do it now. I can actually do it. I see. But for some reason, the first time I couldn't do it. And maybe I wasn't clicking right. But anyway, yeah, voters remorse. That's the theme for the Black community, for most people, especially the younger youth, from what I see. All right, so I'm going to share this article about Jordan Neely. A lot of people had a lot of bad things to say about him. That's one thing about, I know it sounds like I'm contradicting everything. You know, at one time you could say I'm sounding like a Republican, but no matter what a Black person does, when it comes to a Black person being killed, whether it's by an unarmed, they're unarmed or whatever, like by a police officer, or they're just killed as a result of like a white person or a Hispanic. Look at Trayvon Martin. They like to always bring up the person's background and stuff like that. But even if you are committing a crime, does that really constitute you being killed?
What do you mean by background? We talking about race?
Not even just race, just like with like the background with like if they had a criminal record or like they were disruptive. Like for instance, Jordan Neely, I've heard a lot of bad things about him. Actually, the day of the his death, while he was on the train before the confrontation ensued, they talked like a lot of the passengers were scared for their life. But one thing that I have to question is why, if you are scared for your life, why would you stay on the train? You know, it's not like it's just one train that's going through. It's not like you're on the Amtrak or something like that. You're on public transit in New York City. Trains go by ever so many minutes. So it's, to me, I just think it was just a lose-lose situation.
Oh, you're saying that how they're painting him as like a Marine, and then they're painting the victim as a mental illness case or something like that, right?
Yeah, and then also he did have some record. He had a little record behind him, a little reputation. Um, I didn't I wasn't gonna even talk too much about that because I think that's irrelevant. Because a person got killed. He was a Black person. Even if he was doing what he was doing, even in this evidence to support that, I still don't think that he should have been killed. I feel
Yeah,
that he should have been
because
confronted.
when you were talking about background, I think you said something. Sorry, when you were talking about background, I thought you meant like, oh, they killed 5 Democrats and 2 Republicans today. No, that's what you were saying at first, and they don't do that,
No,
you know.
No, I was saying that I might sound like I'm contradicting myself because that when I was talking about voters remorse and stuff like that, because like when you say stuff like this as a Black person, they'll automatically people on the left, they'll say that you're a Republican or a Trump supporter, but you're just speaking facts. A lot of Black people are having
Well,
voters remorse.
well, if you're Black, you were born Democrat,
Okay. Okay. Well, let's look
and
at this
then you
article. Yeah.
and then you have the next 60 years to make money and become a Republican.
Okay. Good take. Good take. So you guys, so Buka, I'm about to show them this article. We're going to talk about this issue, this thing that happened with Jordan Neely and the person that was accused of killing him. And shout out to NPR. I have this article linked in the description. So as you can see, the title. Oh, hold on. I don't have it on screen share. Share screen. All right. Let me double check and make sure I can see it. Okay. Yep. So yep, as you can see, the title, Daniel Penny is charged with second-degree manslaughter in the death of Jordan Neely. And we'll read this article a little bit. This is the gentleman right here, Daniel Penny. Of course, Jordan Neely, he was a black gentleman. I believe he impersonated Michael Jackson on the trains as well. So he was sort of like a performer. He was a homeless person. But anyway, Daniel Penny, the 24-year-old man who put Jordan Neely in a fatal chokehold on the New York City subway more than a week ago, was arraigned and criminally charged in a Manhattan courtroom Friday. Penny, a former U.S. Marine who is white, is facing a felony charge of second-degree manslaughter of the death of Neely, a 30-year-old black man who was homeless. The charges carries a maximum sentence of 15 years in prison. Penny did not enter a plea deal and was released after posting the $100K bail set by the judge. I said 100K is 100,000. Same thing. He was ordered to surrender his passport within 48 hours of his arraignment and not to leave the state of New York. His next court date is July the 17th. So, of course, it wasn't a good look because this guy was white and the guy that got killed was black. So automatically, you're going to have the race baiters and people talk about this. And I would agree that despite the race or whatever, the fact that someone is shouting obscenities and stuff on a subway train, it shouldn't result in them being killed, point blank, period.
So
yeah, hold on. Say that again.
Is there any describe the scenario?
Okay, can you please say that one more time because it's very pixelated with your voice. Hey, Buka.
Yeah, I said, is there any way to describe the scenario, like the day? Is it was it morning? Was it the evening?
Okay, let me look at this real quick. Protests. I do not remember. I don't remember some of the stuff that I learned, but I do know it was during a crowded rush hour period. There was a lot of people on the. It appeared that it was during rush hour. It was a lot of people on the train, and it said that it took the police around. They called the police, or he got the guy that was putting the guy in the chokehold got someone to call the police because you had a lot of bystanders who, of course, they weren't doing anything, but then you had some people that came and helped pin him down. And I'm assuming they didn't realize that he was becoming unresponsive because I believe they said he was kicking for a while they had him pinned down or trying to kick or move. And yeah, he died on the scene from what I understand. But I don't remember the actual specifics for the time or whatnot. I know when I saw some of the interviews, it was during the nighttime and it wasn't too long after. So I'm assuming it may have been in the afternoon.
So we're talking about maybe 40 people in a train car. And you said the guy had him in a chokehold and asked somebody to call the police?
Yes. And then some other people pinned him down. I think it was like 3 other men that had pinned him down.
No, yeah. The other 3 men were arrested?
As far as I know, they weren't charged with anything. I'm not sure if they were arrested, but they haven't been charged with anything. The guy that actually was responsible, that had the guy in the chokehold, which is Daniel Penny, he's the one that's being charged, and he turned himself in this morning. So,
So,
okay.
so is a
Rather
chokehold? Is a
than,
chokehold? Hmm?
well, well, when you're looking at, he was a civilian. He was a vigilante, in other words. So this guy, in essence, he really shouldn't have did anything to this
Who's the
guy.
vigilante? Who's the
The
vigilante?
the the white guy that I just showed, the Daniel Penny
So
guy,
the is he
the
is
Marine veteran.
is he an ex-marine or a current marine? Is he still in
He's a
service?
veteran. He's a veteran.
Oh, so he's a how old is he again? Do we know?
24. And Jordan
So
Neely
he's
was 30.
24. I'm assuming he's not an officer, so he was enlisted.
Well, I don't. It didn't. I didn't look at the specifics for that. I just know he was a
So
Marine veteran.
so I'm assuming he did. I I'm thinking he did maybe college in a
He could have
4-year
been
contract.
7.
No,
He
no,
could
no.
have
I
been
don't think he
7.
7. Yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah.
thinking. He's enlisted because if he did college and then he'd be an officer at 24. So I think he enlisted from high school.
Yeah. I mean, he could have been in 7 years. He could have been in 2 years, 4 years. But that's
What's
not. I don't
what's
think that's necessarily important. But I mean, you can elaborate or talk about that if you want. But I don't think that's
uh
necessarily important. It's the fact that what makes it significant is the fact that he was a white guy, the guy that he killed, or being accused of killing, allegedly, which I don't think is allegedly, because I mean you have the evidence there, but you have him being a black guy, so that's automatically looked at as a big social thing because it's a white guy, it's a white on black crime, in other words. But I have seen some interviews, and one of the guys, he was speaking in Spanish. He was interviewed, and he was saying that he was kind of scared for his life. But like that's what I'm saying. I don't understand why people. I like, for instance, when I lived in the DC area, when I would see somebody um, arguing or something, or somebody acting strange, I would just get off the train and go somewhere else, or the bus, and go somewhere else. You know, or go on wait for another train to come. I wouldn't stay there and just be a bystander, or, uh, you know, I would go somewhere else, go to another car or another train.
so
But you
so
have
the
a lot
reason
of
I'm
people
asking
and stuff. So,
the reason I'm asking all these questions is because in any other scenario, we could definitely paint a picture of a hero here, and a
mm.
veteran, and so on. But the whole should I even say LGBTQ or Democrat viewpoint has already made this guy a criminal, because of the whole white versus black situation. Because that's what I was asking. How many years service? Because in the lower court, that's really what they're going to be talking about. Here we have somebody who served our country for a set number of years. Marines, by the way, not Air Force, Marines. Which is a specialized group in the Navy. And I would say the Marines are the only people who are really a step up from the Army when it comes to doing anything like that. Until you get into the special forces. One second. Sorry, it was a lot of wind. So yeah, so that's why I was asking all those questions. And then my next question, well, first of all, can we look up what the definition of vigilante? Do they say vigilante in that article?
no, they didn't. But I mean, that's my play
Or
on
you were just
words.
saying?
Yeah, but
Okay, and then
well, that's what a vigilante pretty much is, though.
what's a vigilante? What's that
Um,
definition?
let's look at the actual Oxford definition. So keeping careful watch for potential danger or difficulty. So
Or
an example of how it's used: the burglar was spotted by a vigilant. Oh no, never mind. I put vigilante. A member of a self-appointed group or citizens who undertake law enforcement in the community without legal authority, typically because the legal agencies are thought to be inadequate. And that's a good example because in New York, it took the police. They said in excess of 15 minutes to get to the the incident. And usually, like I look at DC for instance, even and even in metropolitan areas in Maryland, the MTA, they have police stationed all around the metro stations, and then some they are actually on board some of these subway trains, and yeah, they're on these subway trains,
So
and they are doing whatever they do, but just their presence alone would, I guess, it's used to deter potential crimes being acted on the train or bus. I've never really seen a police officer on the bus, but I've seen them on the trains, particularly in the DC area. Yeah, but yeah, pretty
so
much.
I think that word vigilante to the common person,
Yeah, it could be used in that way too.
I
Because I mean, see that like that's the thing. That's why he's being charged for second degree manslaughter, not murder. Because in essence, murder you have to have an intent. So they would have to have a proof of him having intent to kill the guy. Manslaughter is pretty much like negligence, which results in the death of another human, which is still homicide.
yeah, I was just saying I think that word vigilante to the common person may even sound like a word like criminal, right? So that's why
Well,
I just asked for that definition of vigilante. Because the other thing that is comparable to that word vigilante is citizen arresting. And citizen arresting is very much legal. And then the next thing I want to ask about is that chokehold he put on him. If anybody knew exactly what it looked like, and if that was a legal chokehold. Because then we can get into that topic of how much force is excessive force. Hey, ladies.
well,
And we already know that guns versus tasers have been a big conversation, right? But here we have a man who's got a chokehold on him. And I'm pretty sure it's not a real bad chokehold because you have to have three other men on top of this guy. So I think
yeah,
because if you put in a good chokehold, like I can, you can put somebody to sleep in 10 seconds, 10, 15
exactly.
seconds tops. So if this guy is kicking, you got three other men on top of him. I don't think he's really putting in a chokehold. I think over time, yes. I think over like maybe 2 to 5 minutes, the man did lose consciousness. And we don't really know his health record, you know? But yeah,
Yeah.
good chokehold, 10, 15 seconds does not take three other men on top of you. Three other grown men. So yeah, I think we need to take that into account.
Yeah, well, we'll find out as the next arraignment for him is his next court date is July the 17th. So we'll know this is going to be a publicized. It's definitely going to be documented on media because it's already a narrative. They're
And,
probably going to go in the background and try to see if he was a racist or something like that. Pull
and,
up a lot of
and
stuff, his personal information.
in fact, to make my point a little bit better, I'm gonna give imagery to it. If this man put him in a chokehold and had three grown men on him, is this a regular subway guy or train guy, or is this Superman or the Hulk that they're trying to choke down? Like
Yeah,
this,
and
like
the
how
guy
much is like
he wasn't a really big guy. He was like slender.
slender? Yeah. So
Yeah,
so if one guy like me can put somebody to sleep in 10, 15 seconds, a man in a chokehold with three other men on top of him, he would have been dead within the minute for sure. Yeah. So I'm just looking at how much is excessive force and also to have all those people around. You know, like I'm just trying to understand the situation that they're painting. Like I'm trying. That's why I asked you what time of day is this after like a Mets game or something. I don't know if it's
um,
not the Mets city, but if it's after like a game, is it before work, after work, or is it midday? Is it busy? And you're saying the train was pretty crowded. So it's. I don't think this guy is gonna spend any time in prison, honestly. I definitely don't think it's a race conversation. And I think in court they're gonna really push that he did serve our country. And if any lawyers worth their dime or whatever, they're definitely going to say exactly what I said in some level and say you know This is not a hate crime or anything like that. He wasn't assaulting him, and they definitely should arrest. If they're gonna arrest this guy, I think they should definitely arrest the other three men who went out their way, to physically also batter this man by getting on top of him.
I'm looking at the Wikipedia article, which of course Wikipedia. So they say it was around 2:30 when it happened.
2:30 in the afternoon. And what city again? You said what?
New York. This is Manhattan. This is New York. Chicago. I was just talking about that. With, the mayor declaring a state of emergency, but no, this was in New York. Homicide.
I've been on those New York trains. I've been on those New York trains. Those New York trains specifically are the reason why I did not want to spend the rest of my life in New York. Specifically.
Yeah. But anyway, they were saying that witnesses, like I said, it was I've seen one of the videos. They were saying that Neely, the guy that got killed, was acting in a hostile and erratic manner, yelling that he was hungry and thirsty and that he would hurt anybody on the train, that he did not mind going to jail or getting life in prison and was ready to die.
And that's the mentality of New Yorkers. Like New Yorkers, like I would see literally lifeless people just sitting there staring into space on those trains. And you could tell these people just worked 16-hour days. And their life, they would not reanimate until the train stopped and it was time for them to move.
Yeah, it's sad. It's sad when you're in these places like that. But obviously somebody did act upon what they felt as a threat or was a threat. But I think what a lot of people should have just did, they should have just got off the train and went to another train. Because if somebody's really scaring you like that and they're acting erratic, I'm not going to want to be around them. You don't know what they have on that person. So
that's why I gave that example. It sounds like common sense to get out and go about your business, but these people just work 12 hours. They're tired. They don't want to move, and here comes this guy acting or doing the most. No, I'm not attacking him, but I think it's important for me, at least, a black man, to try to see, the whole picture, and not just to leave it to white versus black. And also to talk about this one guy does have a military background. And I can see maybe because he served in the military, that's why he thought, he should definitely put it in his own hands,
Yeah.
And
maybe, I'm not sure where he's from or whatever, but he's probably regretting that. But like you say, he might not even serve any jail time, but they might try to make an example out of him. That remains yet to be seen. But it just goes to show you, like, you just need to relax a lot of times and just, have good situational awareness. I think a lot of people don't have good situational awareness when it comes to things. And like I said, that could be the downfall of a lot. And it is the downfall for a lot of people. I know what I would have done. I wouldn't have took action. The action I would have took was to get off that train and go to another one and not be a bystander in harm's way. If I really felt that concern about that situation.
Now let me ask you a question. Would you have done that if you were standing a few feet away and you saw him putting hands on the lady?
Excuse me, a female?
Yes, sir.
I wouldn't care about the female. I personally wouldn't care. That's not my problem. I learned that that's how you get killed. That's how you get killed, dealing with stuff that don't have nothing to do with you. Now, if it was someone that I know, like my sister, my mom, then it would be a different story. But someone that I don't know, a stranger, okay. So the thing is, I look at this. Would they do the same for me? So I look at that.
And the answer. The answer is no, especially if it's a lady. Nobody's going to stand up and start stabbing this or do anything to this man for you. That's the answer. But I just want to ask, and your answer, I think, is correct. I think that's a complaint a lot of ladies have now. Because I think a lot of ladies think that generic men like you and I are supposed to turn into Superman and come save somebody at any moment's discretion. And that's their problem. And, some men now are saying that even if it's their sister or mom, It might even look the other way. You
Oh
know,
no.
this
But
guy,
the thing, and
still
then
had in his
also,
head.
yeah.
Hmm?
Yeah, well, no, that's a whole different subject about what I was about to say. But no, you can go ahead. What you had to say.
No, I agree. I agree. I just want to ask that one question, and I think this guy still thought he was a U.S. Marine. Um, and again, like you and I only know the information we saw in the article, and I just wanted to let's create this scenario, you know. And I mean, if it's this one guy and three other people, dude, no, the other three people need to come out. No, this is a four-man team.
Yeah.
One, look, how many body parts? Head, knees, shoulders. I'm just joking. But head, two arms, two legs. Three other people. You said three other men, right? So each man had a leg. Each man had an arm. We need to call all of them up and ask them. All of them should be held liable, and ask them, hey, what went on? And then call up the witnesses. But you know, even if they called up those witnesses, I doubt any of them would come. Because like I
Of
said,
course
they
not. They're
all probably work
cowards.
12. Yeah, they're cowards, and they all probably work 12 to 16-hour days. They're probably still in that same train right now, coming back from home. Not come back
Yeah.
from home, come back from work.
Yeah, and that's how people get killed though when they get involved with stuff that it doesn't involve them. Um, you know, like I say, have a good situation awareness. That guy, unfortunately, even though he may have felt that he was doing the right thing, he didn't have good situation awareness. And the other people too that got in with it. And then even the people that were on the train, they didn't have good situational awareness because anything could have happened, and something did happen. Maybe, and like you say, and then could be, you know, when you get on those trains, you see people acting crazy all the time. So what's that difference that a day makes? But yeah, they saw something that they probably weren't intended to see. Um, but and see they don't have any remorse for that person. So, and then I look at it too. You know, people die slow, painful deaths every day from terminal illnesses. You know, that's the circle of life. So, I would look the other way. I wouldn't even look the other way. I would just remove myself from that situation and just, you know, let it happen.
Do you have a way? Do you have a way to search YouTube on the side while we're on the talk? Because I like to tell you, I saw a very interesting video. It was a reel actually. Now I don't know if there's any way for you to pull that video and be able to put
Oh
it
yeah, I
in
can
this
pull it up.
live.
What's the name of it?
Um, Give me a second. It may take me having to leave the live. I'm gonna send it to you, okay? Because I know
Okay.
when I close this, I always it like sometimes kicks me off. But
Okay.
I'll send it to your
So I'm gonna
email, the
go.
link.
I'm gonna go into the reparations talk.
Okay, go ahead. All right,
All right.
I'll be right back. Bye.
Okay. All right. All right, you guys. So yeah, Buka gave his take. So yeah, there's another pressing issue with reparations in the state of California, which I believe is going to affect how the conversation and the politics behind that goes across the whole U.S. When it comes to Black who are descendants of slaves getting monetary um, contributions from the government from the sins of the government, the U.S. government, you know, slavery. Um, I don't think it's going to happen. But anyway, we'll just look at this article from a Sacramento news station, and we'll actually look at the clip too. I'm kind of skeptical about playing this clip because you know you have these copyrights with these news channels and stuff. So, but let's just go for it. I'm not monetizing this channel, but I don't think it's going to be that bad. I'm going to give. I already linked them in the description anyway. So, all right, let's see. Oops. But anyway, reparations, that's a hot topic. It's becoming more popular now to talk about that in the Black conscious community. And even people that aren't really into that, you know, if you say, okay, Black people, you can prove that you're descendant of slave, you get money. People will jump on that bandwagon. without really researching and seeing the ramifications of it. Which I'm not opposed to reparations, but is it plausible to do so? Okay, let's share this screen. Okay. So shout out to KCRA Channel 3. This is an NBC affiliate station in Sacramento, California. And as you can see the title, and they give it a little quote or interpretation of what he said, much more than cash. Newsom responds to recommendations from California Reparations Task Force. So Governor Newsom is the governor, of course, of California. Okay, Governor Gavin Newsom responded to recent findings by California's Reparation Task Force, which recommended how the state may compensate and apologize to Black residents after generations of discrimination. A response to the state leaders say is meant to temper expectations around what reparations in California might actually look like. And you know, it's funny that they have this here in California. I know I was looking at some other videos and doing some research, but to my knowledge, didn't Blacks migrate to California because they wanted to escape the South? You know, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong about that. But anyway, part of the preliminary recommendations include payments to Black Californians, which some estimates have projected that the state would owe upwards of 800 billion with the B, more than 2.5 times its annual budget in payments. Okay, in a statement to KCRA 3, which is the Sacramento NBC affiliate, Newsom said many of the recommendations are things that the state has already been addressing, but did not give a clear indication if he would back the payments. Quote, dealing with the legacy is much more than cash payments, Newsom said in a statement, end quote. Quote again, this work must continue following the task force submission of its final report this summer. I look forward to a continued partnership with the legislation to advance systematic change that ensure an inclusive and equitable future for all Californians. Okay, so it's pretty much like, it sounds wishy-washy, but I highly doubt if something is 2.5 times its annual budget. This is a state. This is not a country. This is more than some countries' GDP. You're not going to have that happen, but it remains yet to be seen. And this is really going to determine how a lot of this stuff goes. But if I recall right, this was done May the 10th. So I might need to update my knowledge because I've been hearing that it was struck down, but I don't think so. But anyway, that's that. It's gonna always be talks of reparations, you know. As long as, you know, people feel that they want to get a check from the government, particularly Black people. So let's see what this is. Okay. Copy link address. We're gonna open up another tab. That was smart. That was very smart to do that. Paste and go to. Let's see how this firepower I have behind me is doing. So this is a video from Buka. Well, not from him, but a video that he shared to me, a YouTube Shorts video. So let's share the screen. Okay.
Broken fucking light bulbs that can't be fixed. Why spend time and energy on them? Why we can spend it on the children? Why we can spend it on our future? Why we can spend it on the youth? Why would we spend money on this when he chose? The fucker chose to do this to himself. Chose. So if he goes out in the road and gets hit, in California, if somebody hits this man in a car, that person's going to go to jail. Not this guy. Well, he's going to probably be dead, but the person who hits this guy is going to go to jail, even though the guy wandered out into the street all drugged out. You understand what I'm saying? You understand how California, they don't give a fuck. Corporations, politicians. Excuse me, sir, how you feeling tonight? Feeling good? Yeah, you feeling good, sir? Let me guess. You're not on cloud 9. You're on cloud fucking 149. Sir?
Okay. I'm gonna add Buka back on. Okay. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that video. He makes some good points. I think I had the same kind of dilemma a lot of people have with Kevin Samuels. He said it in a very, very rough way, but this is literally the same situation we have here, where there's a homeless guy. We don't know what his health record looks like. He's making a scene. We know he's making a scene. He's made everybody uncomfortable because it wasn't just one guy. Like, it wasn't like it was an abandoned, or not abandoned, obviously, but an empty or poorly crowded train section. And this guy pulls out a knife, hits him 10 times in the neck, and then runs off. This is a guy. He has another man in a chokehold with. You said 3? Keep saying 3. I heard right?
Yeah, you
With
heard
3.
3. I have to verify that, but it was 2. It was round 2. It wasn't no more than 3, I believe, including the gentleman.
A guy has one individual in a chokehold with other individuals, assisting him. So it wasn't just because vigilante. That word vigilante. That's why I asked for definition. A lot of people think that word vigilante when I describe what I was saying, or like associated with what I just said, with some random guy runs into a train, hits a guy with a knife, runs off. I think that's what a lot of people think when they hear the word vigilante. Whereas this actually sounds like a citizen's arrest gone wrong, way wrong.
Oh, when you say vigilante, so you're thinking of a criminal when you talk about vigilante?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why I asked you to define that word, so we all know what vigilante is. Because I think the common person, when they hear that word, is gonna associate that with a criminal.
Well, the vigilante is the person that goes after the criminal.
Yeah, and I'm sure a lot of people would have thought vigilante is something negative.
Mm.
But yeah, so I'm not sure how I feel about that video per se. The one we just watched here, it's tough.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not wrong.
How was that? Did you hear the whole thing like clear?
Yeah, I heard it was perfect. I heard it.
Okay,
there was no interruptions.
Yes, yeah. It was my laptop.
Okay.
It was my old laptop that was giving me the problem.
Okay.
Yeah,
but yeah, so that guy's not wrong. Here that I've been in Hawaii, it's Hawaii homeless population is real bad. And it was Cinco de Mayo. I was going out with my date, and we parked right next to a homeless lady. She was literally just laid right there on the block, and my heart was just broken, man. It hurt me real bad. And as we're trying to make sure we can park there, she takes off her slippers and she starts sweeping, the area, sweeping, and that really just broke my heart. It really soured my mood for that whole evening. Because in my head, here's a homeless person, right? But let's be real. We all have, like this, yeah, you can buy land, you can buy a house, but we all have a say in this world. Like God, well, you could argue this, that God's given everybody a piece of parcel. Now, capitalism says you can collect as much parcels from other people as you want, right? We're not gonna go into that. But so it's like here she was laying there, and she still knew she should sweep what she calls her home. And yeah, that hurt me real bad. I mean, you got, but that's the way I chose to interpret it, and it really broke my heart. So, and it's like, what do? and the homeless rate is going up. Walmarts have been closing or reducing. You know, you have these bridal places. You know, the where you go and buy your bride and whatever for your wedding. Like this, is it Michael's? Is that the bridal place? But some bridal place just laid off, huh?
David's Bridal. David's
Yeah,
Bridal.
David's bridal. I'm pretty sure that's the one. It's laying off 9,000 people. You know, and that's just one of many, many, many different companies that are rolling back. And so it's actually more crucial than ever to have a college degree. But then when you have the college degree, these people didn't actually get a college degree in something like technical or trades wise. They got it in history, psychology, you know? And
Yeah.
so the homeless rate is gonna increase. You know, a lot of our population have student loans, but not a decent job to pay off that student loan. So so what are we gonna say tomorrow? Like this. Well, look, let me restate this. This is important because what are we gonna say tomorrow when more people are homeless and you start seeing more sensible people, right? Like we're not gonna say this person has a history of mental illness or whatever. This is a normal person who just can't get a job. Then he gets hurt. He gets choked up. Are we still gonna argue the same thing that guy in the YouTube video argues, saying that, look, he's a waste of time. You could use this on your children. You could use this on this. Or can you still argue that? And then at the same time, how do you protect people who can't get a job, who are homeless? You know, in New York City, a few years ago, this is another reason I never moved to New York. It's the Trump Tower, and was right next to the Sony, right? And the homeless people always go into the Sony because the Trump Tower always have their lights on. And this is a practice a lot of places do, you know, where they have security who make sure to go around and tell the homeless people to go. You can't be here. Anyways, which actually to their benefit, actually. But anyways, so these homeless people will be in there, and I got a chance to talk to a couple of them. And these people are sensible people. They tell me, yeah, they're seasonal workers. Half the year, they're skilled trades person. Speaking of me talking about getting a trade, these people are like carpenters and whatnot. The other half is too cold to work, you know? So, yeah, it's tough out here. And I think this case is gonna be very important for the next, like we may not see it, right? The effect, but I think it's gonna be important if he gets off or if he gets punished for it. Either way. Because if he gets punished for it, best believe nobody else is going to stick their neck out, especially after you serve. And at the same time, if he does get off for it, as the homeless population increases, if it does, which I think it is, yeah, it's going to set a precedent of how we, like, what's acceptable to kill, you know? I don't know. Hopefully I said all that correctly or well. Yeah.
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 What you think about the reparations thing? What do you think about reparations?
So yeah, I wanted to chime in when you said a certain term. You said something very interesting. You said that didn't black people move to California to get away, get more opportunities? You said something like that, right?
To escape the South.
Yeah, to escape the South. So yeah, they definitely went up and west. But a lot of people went west. And speaking of black people and going west, a lot of people don't know that and I know a quarter doesn't seem like over a quarter of cowboys were actually black people.
Say that again. You said a quarter of what?
I said actually a quarter of cowboys were actually black.
Oh, okay.
Can you hear me? Yeah, a quarter of black. Like I know a quarter doesn't seem like a lot, but a quarter of blacks. I mean, not a quarter of blacks, but a quarter of the cowboy infantry or cowboys out there, like on horses and rifles, were black, and that's pretty big in the time where we talking about slavery. That's like, because a horse back then is expensive. A horse back then is like having a Ferrari today, literally, you know. And then you're of color, and then you're carrying a rifle. You know, speaking of the cowboys, you know, let me name a president. You know Teddy Roosevelt, right? The guy who said carry a stick and speak softly and carry a big stick. you know, and then with the Rough Riders and stuff like that. So they put the Rough Riders out front, but the people who were actually engaging with the Native Americans, obviously, were that 25% Negro Americans who were cowboys, you know. But yeah, so yeah, we did move. A lot of people did move out west to the Calis. Yeah, a lot of people definitely did. I always thought I was gonna be in California too. You know, I would love to make the joke that, oh man, they're giving out money, I need to go get in line. But honestly, I'm like I've said this so many times. I respect African Americans so much. I'm an African American, right? If you guys will have me, and I think African Americans are the greatest Black people in the world. I'm not trying to pander to African Americans. I just have to look after being here for 20 some years. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. Like what African Americans have gone through. So even if they could, even if somebody was like, hey, you know, you could get, because you know, we saw, you know, when you and I talked about this earlier, didn't they say something? I figure like you might get an annual income of 90,000 as your reparation a year, right? Something like that.
No, they was talking about more than that. It was a lot.
Ooh, it's now more. Yeah.
It was.
If somebody was like, hey man, come get in line. You're dark enough.
They're talking like they was talking. I think I heard a number of 200 million per Black person. That's like
per Black. That would never happen, man. If that ever passed, we would see a lot of Michael Jacksons.
yeah.
Man, Michael Jackson's children would be out in front. All three of them, pillow, blanket, and quilt. All three of them will be out there. You know. Yeah. Oh man, 200 million, dude. There'll be so many new Black. I say a Black, they will never ever. You can never. They already have orange chicken. The Koreans already have fried chicken. Man, you go in there, you see pig feet, greens. The Indians will come back and be Black. The Spanish people for sure. Spanish people, that's all you hear. Yeah, that's amazing. There I have 200 million per Black person. Yo, only way I can see that feasible is if California.
If I recall right, if that's what I was thinking, and because you know the number that I closed the article. I think it was 800 billion. 800 billion.
Where?
In California? In California for reparations.
California has 200 million to give. Look, only way, even that was to pass. Only way that could pass is if Trump is in office. That's the only way. Apart from that, this is another trick people are using to try to get you to vote for him. And I wish people would stop doing that, you know?
Yeah.
Only way. Trump is the only person who'd give out that money. I said Trump is the only person who could give out that money.
Because they talk about like how, you know, you look at all this spending that we had with Ukraine, and how it's resulted in the massive inflation that we had over the last year or so.
If they give out $200 million, if they give out 200 million per Black person, fried chicken at KFC gonna be 20,000 per wing, 20,000. I mean 45,000 for a breast.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, I mean that's a nice dream. I think. Look, let's take this opportunity to say well, I don't know if you if you stand with him, but it's been it was just a year now of Kevin Samuels passing, and I'm anybody listening to this live. Here's my advice to you, just like Kevin said, because the reason why I could relate to him is because I was doing everything he was saying. Go get 2 jobs, get a trade, right? Because what I did was I went and studied electrical engineering, and then I learned a new trade, and I learned how to make medicine, you know, or find a trade. Or find a way to work a night job. That's good. A decent night job. So I did electrical computer engineering. Yeah.
Quick question. So are you saying you went down the path that you went because of Kevin Samuels?
No, I said
are you
I
saying
could
that
relate to him.
you can relate? You can relate. Okay, gotcha. I'm going to say. 'Cause
Yeah,
thought
I said I could definitely, because Kevin was
I got
talking
you.
some
I got
asking,
you.
yeah, Kevin was talking about some immigrant stuff. This is how immigrants come wired. Immigrants don't, immigrants come jobs, and their women come to respect and follow their man, and they don't care how many tacos you selling. They happy. They're happy with you because they understand that a man's worth is not the money. Whereas Americans, I'm going to say Americans, not just African Americans, Americans are wired when you don't have a job, get that unemployment, get that Section 8, get all that. I mean, why
Yeah.
wouldn't you? There's nowhere else in the world that I can think of that you have these opportunities. I don't even think the only type of similarities that London would have with America is they are pretty parallel when it comes to like the child support stuff and the unfairness when it comes to male custody and stuff like that and legally, you know.
Mm.
But apart from that, I don't think London is giving out the Section 8 and the welfare like the way America is. People talk about the healthcare system and all that. America, I mean, unless you want to go to, what was that one country? Greenland, or I don't know. They do have, like, some other countries have a better so-called healthcare system where everybody seems to be treated. They have healthcare for everybody. But apart from that, America has a great system. I think that's why I was kind of worried. Not worried, but I wanted to grasp what you wanted to talk about for this, because you said our current standing of America. And I mean, I see the worries when it comes to the inflation, and but honestly, the only thing that really worries me as a black man is war. I don't want to wake up one day and we gotta go to Russia. We gotta go to Afghanistan. We just got out of there, right? I just don't want to
Yeah.
wake up one day and in mass, me and you eating MRE, which is for people who don't know, is Lunchables, but for the army. And we doing our podcast in the middle of Madagascar. That's the only thing I really worry about. As long as we're not doing that, I can figure everything else out. If
Yeah.
the inflation go up, that's a great time to work two jobs. It's never been like, this country is great. You legally is recommended, I hope I'm saying this right, to work about 8 hours. You have 16 more hours in a day to do anything else you want. You can sleep, you can get a second job. You can work 2 full-time jobs and still have 8 hours to sleep. What other country is like that? And most countries don't have the infrastructure for you to work a night job. And we're complaining. And here's the thing, if every person did it, I can understand. But most people aren't doing it. So if you, as a man, not talking about you, by the way, I'm talking about like the person, can get a second job or part-time and take that second job earnings or that part-time earning and put it and invest it, you'd be so well off. Now, the woman thing or creating a family, that's another conversation. That's another conversation. But yeah, so yeah, Kevin Salmon just passed, and I definitely agree with a lot of stuff he was saying. Yeah,
Okay.
and I think this condition of our country is great. I think we don't just keep on moving. I don't to comment earlier when you couldn't hear me well. When you said that there are a lot of voters remorse. Yeah, you're right. A lot of voters are remorseful, and they should be, because they keep voting with their feelings and they vote uneducatedly. Like, even me right now, if I were to run for the Republican Party, I'm already going to be assumed to be racist. That's what it is, or insane. So for people to just demonize Trump as the worst racist in the world makes it automatic for whoever comes in as a Democrat to win. It's easy. And people ask me all the time, Buka, why have you never voted? And I do feel bad because the last generation worked so hard to give us the opportunity to vote. But I'm not going to cut out of work to go vote. By working, I am voting. But literally, because when you have that dollar, that's when you can actually make a say. And when I get my paycheck, I can choose to go give that dollar right back through Chick-fil-A or go to the barbershop and give that dollar to somebody who look like me. Or get on your podcast and just talk until you find somebody, until you get real booming and popping, and you can get OJ and I don't know, Nicki Minaj on this podcast and you forget about me.
Oh,
But I'm not saying that in a bad way. You should.
yeah, I get what you're
move.
saying.
Yeah, you should move on. But yeah, and they should have voters remorse, you know? And I'm not Democrat nor Republican. And like I said earlier, I know it seemed like to come out the blue. If you're black, you were born Democrat. If you make money, then you have the next 60 years to make money to become a Republican. If you don't make the money, you stay a Democrat, you know? And that sounds harsh, but I'm not the first to say this. I just said it in my way. I mean, go look at the interviews with, what's his name? The guy, the bald head Dave Chappelle. He says something just like that, literally.
Okay.
And everybody knows it, And honestly, as a black man, I don't know if I'm sticking a Democrat Party because that means I'm co-signing for LGBTQ and everything else that comes with it, And so,
Yeah.
and even with Republicans, I'm not co-signing for their so-called racist or all of the so-called negativity, but I definitely think it's a good thing to carry. I don't have a gun. I don't need a gun myself, right? But I'm indifferent with it. So no party fits any person well. I think the party that fits the person, the individual well in this country of America, is working 2 jobs. That's the only party. Work 2 jobs. Don't take your other paycheck and chase women. As a man, take your paycheck and invest it in something, buy something, and find a good woman who can manage the land for you, who can, while you're working, manage the contractors that come to do little things so that whatever it is, if it's a farm or if it's a rentals that you're running or even stocks or in filing taxes, find a good woman like that. And that's all you need in this country. You don't need anything else. And it doesn't have to be engineering. It can be Dunkin' Donuts and McDonald's. And you will get real far as long as you have that mentality, because it's not about 6 figures. It's about what are you doing with that income with the second job. The first job is probably going to cover all the bills. The second job, what are you going to do with it? And that's the party that every black person in America should be voting and talking about. Not about Democrat or Republican, because you and I are not invited to have that conversation with them when they're passing out the pizza rolls. When they invite us, Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's my input with that.
Okay. Well, that sounds good. I think we're gonna wrap it up. We had about an hour and 10, so that was pretty good.
Okay.
We covered some stuff. We covered some good stuff. So I think this will be a pretty
Yeah,
good.
we
live.
started some real good stuff. I think this is a great live, and I'm definitely worried about that outcome because I wasn't there, but either way it goes, definitely may have some consequences. The way board versus education and or board versus Brown or whatever back in the day used to have. It'll have some small implications that we will suffer in the future.
You talking about the reparations?
No, not the reparations. Dude, I think the reparations is a joke. If it passed, I'm happy for them. But I'm not even going to drive down there to go get it. I mean, I wouldn't want to drive down there to go get it. Like I was trying to say earlier, I wouldn't. I just immigrated here 20 years ago. The people who should get it need to get it. I wasn't here. I was eating mangoes off a tree back in Nigeria, chilling. Nobody was whipping on me. So the people who need to get it need to go get it. But I think it's a joke.
You're talking about the
I'm talking about the other one, the train situation.
Okay, yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, it's gonna have some. Either way it goes, if he's let off or he's, I mean, I guess the smart thing you could do is try to half punish him. But I wouldn't agree with that, because if you punish him, the only way I would agree is that if you punish him, you need to punish the other 3 men or 2 men who jumped on the man with him.
Yeah, that's probably what's going to happen. But right now, he's the main player in the game.
Yeah, he's the one who put the chokehold in.
Yeah.
So what I get out of that is if somebody stabs somebody, I can get in 4 or 5 punches and I should be okay. If somebody shoots somebody, I should get in 4 or 5 stabs and I should be okay. That's what I'm getting out of that. As long as I'm not the one who was holding his neck, I can break every one of his toenails and I should be okay. That's what I'm getting out of that. But yeah, we will see, right?
Yeah. Well, okay, Buka, thank you so much for coming on. Thank you to the viewers and then the people that's watching on the replay. Yep, stay tuned for more lives. We're gonna do a nice one, nice juicy topic coming up, hopefully within the next couple of weeks or so, or a few weeks. And then, of course, I'll probably throw in one monkey wrench in, couple of ones. So yeah, thank you so much. Have a good one.